Chapter 18 of 7 Footprints to Satan by A. Merritt. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Read by Ben Tucker. Chapter 18. Satan Snares Me. We had reached the dimly lighted corridor wherein lay the entrance to my rooms. Barker halted with a warning gesture. "Listen," he breathed. I heard a noise, faint and far away, a murmuring. There were men moving somewhere behind the walls and coming toward us. Could they have found the drugged slave so soon? "Get into your room, quick," whispered Harry. We started on the run, and halted again. 10 feet ahead of us, a man had appeared. He had seemed to melt out of the wall with a magical quickness. He leaned against it for a moment, sobbing. He turned his face toward us. It was Cobham. His face was gray and lined and shrunken. His eyes were so darkly circled that they looked in that faint illumination like the sockets of a skull. They stared vaguely as though the mind behind them were dimmed. His lips were puffed and bleeding as though he had bitten them through time and time again. "You're Kirkham," he staggered forward. "Yes, I remember you. I was coming to you. Hide me." The murmuring sounds were closer. I saw Barker slip the brass knuckles over his fingers and make ready to leap upon Cobham. I caught his arm. "No use," I warned him. "They'd find him. The man's more than half mad, but they'd make him tell. I'll take him. Hurry, get out of sight." I seized Cobham's arm and raced him to the panel that opened into the bedroom. I opened it and thrust him through, Barker at my heels. I slipped in and closed the slide. "Get in that closet," I ordered Cobham, and shoved him among my clothes. I shut the doors and moved quickly with Barker into the outer room. "Gord," he muttered, "but I don't fancy this." "It's the only way," I said. "I'll have to figure some way to get rid of him later. I don't believe they'll come in here. They won't suspect me. Why should they? Still, there's the chance. If they found you here, then, the fat would be in the fire. Is there any way you can dig right out without too much risk?" "Yes." The little man's voice and eyes were troubled. "I can make the getaway all right, but Gord, I don't like leaving you, Captain." "Beat it," I said brusquely. "Get to Considine. Tell him exactly what we found. Tell Miss Demarest what happened. If anything does go wrong, it's all up to you, Harry." He groaned. I heard a faint noise in the bedroom. I walked over to the door and looked in. It was Cobham stirring in the closet. I tapped upon it. "Be quiet," I told him. "They may be here any minute." I snapped all the lights on full. I went back to the other room. Barker was gone. I threw off my coat and vest and piled some books on the reading table. I fixed myself comfortably, lighted my pipe, and began to read. The minutes passed slowly. Every nerve was tense and every sense alert. But I flattered myself I was giving an excellent impersonation of one entirely absorbed in what I was reading. And suddenly, I knew that eyes were upon me, that someone was standing behind me watching me. I went on reading. The silent scrutiny became intolerable. I yawned and stretched, arose and turned. Satan stood there. He was cloaked from neck to feet in scarlet. At his back were half a dozen of the kept slaves. 2 more were standing by the open panel in the bedroom. "Satan!" I exclaimed, and the surprise I put into the words was genuine. Whatever the possibilities I had admitted, that Satan himself would head the manhunt had not been among them. "You are startled, James Kirkham." There seemed a hint of solicitude in the expressionless voice. "I too was startled when, knocking at your wall, you failed to answer." "I did not hear you," I said truthfully. Had he really knocked? "You were, I see, deep in your book," he said. "But you wonder perhaps why your silence should have disturbed me. I am in pursuit of a fugitive. A dangerous man, James Kirkham. A desperate man, I fear. The trail led us by here. It occurred to me that he might have attempted to hide in your rooms, and that resisting him you had come to harm." It sounded reasonable enough. I remembered the extraordinary favor he had shown me that afternoon. My doubts were lulled. I let myself relax. "I thank you, sir," I told him. "But I have seen no one. Who is the man?" "The man I seek is Cobham." He interrupted me. "Cobham?" I stared at him as though I had not understood. "But I thought that Cobham—" "You thought that Cobham was in the room of the mirrors?" he interrupted. "You have wondered without doubt why I had put him there. You thought that he was one of my trusted aides. You thought him most valuable to me. So he was. Then suddenly that Cobham whom I trusted and who was valuable ceased to be. Another spirit entered him. one that I cannot trust, and that therefore can never be other than a menace to me." With a sinking heart I saw the cold mockery in the hard, bright eyes, realized that he had raised his voice as though to let it carry throughout the rooms. "That poor departed Cobham," he intoned, "shall I not avenge him? Yea, verily, I will punish that usurping spirit, torment it until it prays to me to loose it from that body it has stolen. My poor lost Cobham, he will not care what I do with that body that once was his, so he be avenged." There was no mistaking the mockery now. I felt my throat contract. "You say you saw nothing?" he asked me. "Nothing," I answered. "If anyone had come in the rooms, I would have heard them." Instantly I realized the error of that, and cursed myself. "Ah, no," said Satan smoothly. "You forget how immersed you were in your reading. You did not hear me. Either when I knocked or when I entered. I cannot let you run the risk of him being hidden here. We must search." He gave an order to the slaves attending him. Before they could move, the closet door in the bedroom flew open. Cobham leaped out. His first jump took him halfway to the opened panel. I caught the gleam of steel in his hand. In an instant he was at the two slaves guarding the opening. One went down gurgling, his throat slit. The other stumbled back, hands holding his side, blood spurting through his fingers. And Cobham was gone. Satan gave another curt order. 4 of the 6 behind him raced away and through the panel. The other 2 closed in on me, pinioning my arms to my sides with their cords. Satan considered me, the mockery in his eyes grown devilish. "I thought he would come here," he said. "It was why, James Kirkham, I let him escape." So that, too, had been a web of Satan's weaving, and he had snared me in it. Suddenly, an uncontrollable rage swept me. I would lie no more. I would wear a mask no more. I would never be afraid of him again. He could hurt me damnably. He could kill me. He was probably planning to do both, but I knew him for what he was. He was stripped of his mystery, and I still had an ace in the hole of which he knew nothing. I drew a deep breath and laughed at him. "Maybe," I said cynically. "But I noticed that you couldn't keep him from escaping this time. The pity of it is that he didn't slit your damn black throat as he went, instead of that poor devil's yonder." "Ah," he answered with no resentment. "Truth begins to pour out of the stricken Kirkham as water poured from Moses from the stricken rock. But you are wrong once more. It is long since I have enjoyed a manhunt. Cobham is an ideal quarry. It was why I left the panel open. He will last, I hope, for days and days." He spoke to one of the 2 keft drinkers guarding me. I did not understand the tongue. The slave bowed and slipped out. "Yes," Satan turned to me. "He will probably last for days and days. But you, James Kirkham, equally as probably will not. Cobham cannot escape? Neither can you. I shall consider tonight with what form of amusement you shall furnish me." The slave who had gone out entered with 6 others. Again Satan instructed them. They massed about me and guided me toward the wall. I went unresisting. I did not look back at Satan. But as I passed through the wall, I could not shut my ears to his laughter. End of chapter 18.